Hi everyone, it's Mary McIntyre. Welcome back to another video. I've got another Halloween themed one here, trying to pack quite a few videos into October. I got for Christmas this Let's Resin skull mould, and I've been really itching to make something with that ever since. That was 10 months ago and I still haven't had time. And I also from Shein got these ice cube silicone moulds of ghosts. I really like these little ghosties that are just sitting on shelves in all of the shops. So this was a pack of 2 of those, I think, or did I just buy 2? I may have just bought 2, thinking I can use one for actual ice cubes and one for resin. The skull is going to need a deep pour resin so that it doesn't overheat, and the only deep pour resin that I currently have is the Vista one, which I've had for quite a while, so I'm just hoping that that is still okay. Bit dodgy. I've had it a couple of years, so it may have gone past its use by date. I've got some Vista liquid pigment. So the ghosties, dead simple, just white resin. They could probably get away with not a deep pour resin, but I'm going to be mixing some up anyway. So the skull takes 300 ml of resin. And the ghosties take up 180 ml, so I'm going to need quite a lot of deep pour resin anyway, so I'm just going to mix up a big batch and put the white pigment in. Before I do that, what I was thinking of doing with the skull, instead of leaving it plain white, is using some of my iridescent nail powders, the ones that give you like a subtle pastel colour shimmer, colour changing glow. They look very different with black resin, but I think just having those patches, maybe kind of flick it onto the mould rather than like rubbing it in with the brush, to give more of a nebula galaxy effect, but with a white background, if that makes sense. So at a distance it'll probably look white, but when you get up close and tilt it, it'll have that colour shift. That's what I've got in my head. The other thing I'd like to do with this as well is to do a clear one with lots of that like iridescent flakes in there. I think that would look absolutely gorgeous, but I need to make a big batch anyway, so I'm just going to do it all white for the ease of making these 2 projects together. I will have my spare one of these to hand if I've got excess resin, and obviously if resin goes into it I won't be using it for ice. I've kept the 2 separate right now, so I will try to mix up the right amount, and if I get a bit extra, I've got some extra, I'll just have a mould nearby to dump that into. So that's kind of it really. It's a really simple project, this one, so I'll get my PPE on. Before I do that, I will get the nail powders onto the inside of this skull. Then I'll mix up my resin off camera. For the deep pour, it is 2 parts of part A to 1 part of part B. So yeah, that should be easy enough. I've not used this stuff for ages, so hopefully it'll be all right. So yeah, really simple project. Let's get started. Okay, I've got my pastel-y coloured nail powders there. I've also picked up these just for you online, opal flakes, because I thought a few of those in certain areas might look nice. I think the easiest way to do this is to turn the mould inside out. It's quite squishy, so I'm not worried about damaging it, and I'm going to try to not really think too much about placement, other than to not have a pattern. I want it to be random, and these colours are very hard to see in the pots, so it will be a surprise what's coming out. But I can't remember if I've actually used these. I have used these with white resin and they do look really pretty, so I think my plan is more to get it and tap rather than to buff in. I don't know if that's a bad idea or not. Maybe once I've tapped, then I can go over with a big brush and buff the whole thing together, and then we'll have kind of a random assortment of these pastel colours. They're really, really pretty colours, but until you've got the resin on them, they can be very difficult to see which is which. So again, I'm just going to flip this and tap. comes with these flakes which fly absolutely everywhere. You can just put a few on. It just gives you that, they're called opal flakes, and they really do give you that feeling of suddenly there's an area where there's this beautiful kind of coloured patch, and it's just so lovely. I really like it when you just get those pops of opal flake, the iridescent film that's in them. But everything's kind of dotted on there in patches, so I think it should blend out alright. Put the lid on these flakes first before I end up with them on the floor. Oh, there's the one that flew across the room. Let's get that one. Right. Enough. Right, smush. Circular motions, smush it all in. As I tilt, I can see these different colours kind of merging in. I really should have used a bigger brush for this. Cool. Right, flip that guy back the right way around. There are lots of nooks and crannies in here. I'm going to have to get in with a micro brush and make sure I don't get trapped air bubbles in it. There are some bits in those cheekbones there where there's a chance for bubbles to catch, and under the eye sockets, so I'll have to be super careful with that. But being a deep pour resin, it's going to be more fluid, so you don't always have the same problems that you would have with a thicker resin. Okay, that's that ready. I'm going to go mix up my resin off camera, get all of this pigment off my hands, and I'll be back to pour. It's been 2.5 days, so I'm assuming that this is cured. Feel very solid, so I'm going to pop some of the ghosts out first, and hopefully we won't have any issues with uncured resin. No, that looks good. Oh, he's so cute. Look at him. I need to decide what I'm going to do with the eyes. I'm probably going to go in with a bit of acrylic paint. We'll pop the others out and have a look. They're absolutely adorable. Oh, they're so cute. Right, it's an army of ghosts, and they're actually very kind of matte finish, which I don't mind. You can see the shiny shiny resin. But if you don't already know this, resin will pick up the texture of the mould. So if you have a matte mould, you'll get a matte result. If you've got a shiny mould, you'll get a shiny result. So I'm very excited to see how this turned out. Can't see anything through the sides of the mould. So I'm going to be really careful, although it's very squidgy, I don't want to damage the mould getting this out, but you do have to stretch it quite hard to get over the back of this skull. Maybe if I can get the face out first, it'll help. You can squirt a bit of alcohol in to help release these, but generally just a bit of squeezing and a bit of brute force does the job. There we go. So this is a very shiny looking result. So how's he look? He's pretty cool. I can't actually see an awful lot of the colour. Oh yeah, I can just get it in the right light. So at the right angle, oh yeah, the right angle, you can definitely see those colours coming through. There are a few places where I've got the opal flakes. A little bit of overspill to clean up. I could have filled the mould a smidge more, but his face does have some iridescent colours. He is a chunk. We took 300 mils of resin and that's not even full, but he's awesome. I really, really like that. That's ace. Yeah, there are a bit of the chameleon flakes in his eye sockets. So I'm just going to clean off this excess with my deburring tool. And then I need to make a decision what I'm doing with these little guys. So you can really see the difference in finish. The skull very shiny, the ghost very matte. You can't really see their faces, so I really do need to do something. And I'm just thinking black is the simplest thing to do, and acrylic paint will dry matte the same as the ghost, or I won't have to top coat it or anything. So I'm just using Crawford and black acrylic paint that I got from the works, and I've added a little bit of water just to make it a little bit more fluid, because that makes it a bit easier to paint with. I've got a very, very small pointed paintbrush. I've also cleaned my hands so that I'm not putting black fingerprints all over my ghost. So this is going to be fiddly because the eyes are very small. A bit too much water in that bit. I love them so much. I don't want that paint to run because they're not very stable. It might lie on its back just while they dry, because I don't want the paint to run down the face, because once black acrylic gets somewhere you don't want it on a white thing, it's there forever. You just can never get rid of it. Okay, here is the skull. The colours are definitely subtle, but they're there. You get them at the right angle, you just get a little pop of something, and obviously the flakes give you more of a pop. But yeah, I love him. He's a great addition to my other skull collection. And up here we've got the cute little ghosties. I don't know if they're going to stay here, but I've put them here for now with my new acquisition, my Halloween aeroplane that I got from not TK Maxx, Home Sense, same company, but yeah. So I've got my little ghosties. I love them so much. They've got a really nice texture. There's something about the texture of this mould. They remind me of a kind of peppermint that I used to have when I was a little kid. kind that I don't like, peppermint creams almost. There's something about the texture that's very specific. That's down to the texture of the mould, but yeah, for a cheapy Shein mould, I absolutely love those. I wish I'd kept one back for ice cubes, but so I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. See you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe because the next project is a banger, if I say so myself. I'm super excited to share that one with you. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.